The Sun City Board of Directors is holding its quarterly meeting. This is an ideal way to get updates on the current status of our community. Sun City TV has been invited to share with you key presentations from this session.
Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to change the format a little bit today because we have some distinguished guests, and I don't know that they necessarily want to sit through our normal board meeting. So I'm going to bump up our fire station presentation. It's very exciting to me. This will be Bluffton Township Station number 39. And if you recall, those of you that have been here in 2021, then the Chief Thompson came and showed us all this response time data, and it was unsatisfactory for really, I'll call it the lower half of the main campus. And they were worried about not being able to service people satisfactorily. So then we solicited a lot of community feedback, either verbally or by email. In 2022, the board deeded a plot of land to the Beaufort County, and the land, in case you, how many people don't know where the proposed station's gonna be? You all know? Okay. Sun City Boulevard, if you're coming from Red Dam toward the front gate, you see the pickleball courts, horseshoe, it's right between there and the gardens. They've started to do some stuff there. So that's where it's going to be. It will be Bluffton Township, which is still part of Beaufort County. We deeded them the property as long as they're gonna use it. And then in 2023, Beaufort County Council provided the funding for the building. You will not pay for that, meaning Sun City's not a direct payee. You all, those in Beaufort County, your taxes will cover it, but there's no charge to Sun City other than that. So today, here's who we have. We have interim chief for the Bluffton Township Fire District, Derek Church. Come on up. We have Kevin Peoples, Beaufort County EMS. He was a surprise guest for me. We have Natalie Marjolkowitz. I'm sure I didn't say that right, Natalie, I apologize. She is District 6 Beaufort County Commissioner on the Fire District. It's Natalie. We have Heather Moulton, who's from Fraser Construction. They won the bid to build the building. And we have, Robert Getze, who is Beaufort County Government Interim Director for Capital Project Management. He's kind of making it all happen. So you guys are on. Oh, you get the microphone, he said.
Good afternoon, how are you doing? Again, my name is Robert Getze. I am the Interim Director for Capital Projects for Beaufort County. We are pleased to be working with Fraser Construction and of course their subcontractors, Cord Atkins and Ward Edwards, and I'm sure there are a few others that I'll leave out of that, but J.K. Tiller. And this is gonna be a fantastic project. As you can see, we've got the rendering behind us, and it's gonna be a beautiful design that has already gone through approval with the HOA board. This is a $5 million project that is being funded by the 2017 GO bond that council has approved. We are currently under contract with Fraser Construction. We're in the design process, and they're going to go into a little more about their schedule and how long that's going to take. But at this time, I would like to just kind of let you go through the presentation with the rendering, and we've got some floor plans, let you guys see a little bit, and then we'll certainly open it up for questions at the end. Does that sound good? Thank you very much.
And everybody has to talk really close to the mic so they can hear you.
You can take it out if you want.
Yeah, you can pull it out.
That's okay. I'll leave it. I'll leave it right here. So as Robert said, this is the rendering that has been approved by your ARB. This is for Fire Station 39. It's very similar to previous stations that we've built throughout Beaufort County. In look and design. Let's see. There we go. Here is the site plan. This is how it will lay out on the piece of property that was deeded to Sun City. It will have it'll have one entrance and one exit. That's how all the stations have been developed. So the trucks will come in on this far entrance and be able to pull straight through the apparatus bay. It'll have 2 cuts in the median for in and out access. That's pretty much. Here's the floor plan that we've done Station 31 in New Riverside and Station off of Burnt Church Road, and they all have this basically, that they were prototypes, all based basically off the same similar floor plan, just adjusted for staffing and the needs of the fire station. As we've proceeded with more projects, we've made tweaks here and there to accommodate the station's, the department's needs. So this is the apparatus bay where the trucks will be housed. To the left, there is storage and gear storage. On the right is all the living quarters. It has 6 bunk rooms, 8 bunk rooms, and a laundry facility, an exercise facility, a day room, kitchen, and a small health services walk-in area at the reception area. I believe this will all be card access to the fire, with the fire department. These are just some other elevations. So the previous elevation was the front elevation, obviously what's facing the road. This will be, I guess that's, yeah, the bottom facing the road, the rear elevation. This will be the entry face of the building. As Mr. Getze said, we are well underway with design. We have had our initial conceptual SRT meeting this morning with Beaufort County, and have been given the go-ahead to move forward into that. Currently, as things are progressing, it appears that we will be through permitting and design activities by the end of this year. Work with Beaufort County on finalized pricing and move into construction the beginning of January, or sometime in January of 2026. The duration of the actual construction should be somewhere between probably 8 and 9 months. So it'll be August, November timeframe when we're complete. And that's basically
So Heather,
all I have.
Let me just say, yeah. I'll just yell. So Heather alluded to the ARB. In case you don't know, because we throw out acronyms all the time, that's the Architectural Review Board. Can you talk about what they did? They visited stations, so on?
Well, so the Architectural Review Board was appointed by your development. And they did, to my knowledge, they visited several stations within Beaufort County that I believe most of that we built and designed with this team. And they reviewed the architectural aspects, the exterior finishes, and basically told our design team what aspects they liked, what they wanted to see, what they didn't like, and then Cord Atkins took that information. They are the architect for this project. They took that information and developed the exterior of the building to look as they requested, basically, so that the exterior finishes will fit in with the aesthetics of your development. So the apparatus bay on the far right will be a stucco finish with a brick water table, and then the brick water table will carry around the living quarters, and the finish of the living quarters will be painted hardy plank siding, and a metal roof.
So, real quick. So this is really a cookie cutter design that we have. Sure.
You got to put it right by your face.
So this is really a cookie cutter design that we have built similarly in the past, and basically what we did is took this design, the footprint, the space utilization, and with the process from the input with EMS and fire, took the insides, said, okay, we've got this design. Now we took it to the ARB, and they made some changes based on the aesthetics to fit in with the community here, and I think that they came up with a very good solution to it, and we're very pleased at how it has progressed. And again, we're on schedule. We like to keep it that way. And so hopefully the timeline will fall into place. Like I said, we are very fortunate to be working with Fraser again on building another one. And I think at this time, if there are any questions, or we could turn it over to Chief, talk about the operations. If you guys have any questions on that, we can certainly talk about that. But at this time, any questions?
On the actual design or build?
Sure, in the very back. So I'll go back to that. Absolutely. So, of course, with this process, we have to go through the stormwater review board. Basically, with the SRT, there were some comments this morning that they made, and basically those questions will be answered as we go along. But as you can see, those areas that are marked in blue, with kind of the fine lines, those are the gradients. Those are stormwater retention ponds, and basically everything will be filtered through those. And what that does is that keeps the water from going straight into the marsh. It goes there, it settles out, and then it will basically either percolate down through the rain gardens with additional outfall that would go afterwards.
But I also,
Go ahead.
in addition, the limits of construction do not infringe on the wetland.
Vertical line, correct.
Yep. Other question on the design build?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Will it have to be made to save as many trees as possible?
Absolutely. So any trees that we've already had some comments from this morning, and so we have to do a one-for-one replacement on the trees. But absolutely, we're here to preserve as many trees as we can. I didn't hear that.
So we're not going to lose any. I believe Brad has worked with the garden club. They're going to be moved to the back of it. Nobody's going to lose their garden. Brad's facilitating that.
There's a,
It's like 6 or 9 up in the front. Nobody's going to lose.
yeah, so I believe if this entry road right down here at the bottom is going to be an access to relocated garden plots.
Yep. It'll be fine. It's 9. And they will be moved at the community's expense. Okay, how about we hear from the chief
Absolutely.
and EMS? You know we're going to have fire and EMS here. So you go for it, Chief Church. Yeah, you'll have to do that.
Yeah, probably so. Good afternoon. Sorry. Thanks for having us, first of all. I'm just going to cover a little bit of the operations portion of the fire district, and for EMS as well, as Kevin will let me know if I say anything wrong. From a standpoint of our goal is just like Ms. Tapp talked about, was essentially that the response time to the Lazy Daisy area and Landing Lane and everything back there is kind of unacceptable to what we see as the standard response for the district. And both fire and EMS, for our response, we're always operating on a continuous improvement model to try to make sure we're giving you guys the best service that we could possibly give you. The way that staffing will be for the station It'll be fully staffed with a fire engine with a minimal staffing of 3 trained fire personnel. On full staffing, you'll have 4 trained fire personnel on the actual fire apparatus. On the ambulance, the plan is to have an ambulance with 2 personnel that has capability of advanced life support response, just like you're getting out of the current station. Some questions are, is this going to be dedicated to Sun City as a whole? Its primary response will be dedicated to Sun City. However, it will operate as a backup to the district as needed. But we always backfill those areas, whether it's through mutual aid with our partners over in Jasper or Hardyville Fire, or sometimes we have to go as far as Hilton Head and Beaufort on major incidents. So we'll always do our best to have coverage in the area as we do now. Obviously, it's a 24 hours a day, 7 days a week project. It's going to be managed and does the same function as the current station. We're just adding additional bandwidth, if you will, or ability to respond quicker. And also the reliability of the Sun City station, which is our busiest station in the fire district and for EMS south of DeBrod, I would imagine, is that when that unit's tied up currently, we have to move another unit from either downtown Bluffton or one of the other stations to cover. With this additional station, that increases our reliability of having a unit available in a faster response time. So it's multifaceted in the benefit that's going to provide to the community as a whole, not just Sun City. But it's a huge benefit to Sun City whenever everything's in-house, because it cuts the response times more than in half in most cases. What else?
Chief, could you remind them how many fire stations are in Bluffton Township District?
I got you. The Bluffton Township Fire District covers 246 square miles total. We operate all the way from the foot of the Broad River Bridge to just over Hilton Head Island Bridge, to include Windmill Harbor and Outdoor Resorts, which is right on the left over on Hilton Head. And we go all the way to the New River Bridge down 170 and 46 area, which is going towards Savannah, the little bridge across. So quite a vast area. And in that, currently, we have 9 fire stations. This will be our 10th fire station, aiding in the ability to, again, with that much area, you can get spread pretty quickly. The fortunate part of that is that the density is about half of that area is densely populated. So that we work through with other partners in their response data as well, as to try to strategically place stations as needed, and obviously when funding and land availability as well, to ensure that we cover that area as efficiently as possible. Let's see, is there anything else we want to cover on that?
Chief, would you tell them how much a fire truck costs, please? I mean, this will boggle your mind, but go ahead.
All right, well, just for the shock and awe portion of it, we'll cover what we did a complete fleet replacement of 10 fire apparatus in 2016. We did that with a 2015 bond to replace our entire fleet, and that fleet replacement was about $4.3 million or so for that fleet replacement. If we replace that same fleet, adding 1 apparatus to it is somewhere in the realm of about 12 to 13 million now. So essentially, in 2016, when we contracted over those units, those apparatus, we paid about $400,000 an apparatus. And today, they're between $900,000 and $1 million for a fire pumper truck, which is the one without the ladder on top. The one with the ladder on top is, you're looking at $1.5 million to $2 million, according to what options are on that apparatus. And on top of that, because some folks watch the council meetings and watch us try to get our funding and everything, we're asking the council and our boards and everything to approve a purchase for something that, when we order it today for fire apparatus, you're looking at 3 to 4 years before you'll see that apparatus out of production, due to multiple things. But everyone says it started in COVID, but I think it was a little bit before that.
Wasn't that amazing to everybody how much it cost? Okay, just a minute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It'll be staffed 24/7. It'll have the same staffing model that the rest of the fire district has. The fire district and EMS are both full-time, not combination, not volunteer, but full-time staffing, which is 24/7, 365 days a year. It will not be 100% dedicated to Sun City. I think that will be an injustice to the rest of the district, who also is paying taxes and funding that as well. It will be a huge asset because it will be the last unit we move because of everything has a risk level, and our community risk reduction division is still identifying that. I think some of you folks may have met with that group in different meetings, but we're trying to obtain data to see, just like the station location and a few other things, we always look at our call data and see where the most risk is and where the pockets are where are we running the most cardiac arrest, where are we running the most falls, where are we running the most this and that. And that determines our move up of apparatus within our internal policies to ensure that we're covering the areas that have the highest risk when we can. Now, if a major incident goes out downtown Bluffton, it will get thinner because you have to dump a huge amount of resources there, and then we backfill with mutual aid companies from other fire districts and whatnot through some mutual aid agreements, through the countywide mutual aid agreement. The apparatus replacement plan will encompass Station 39 when we go into that and we order a new fleet, as long as funding is available, because that's always the catalyst in everything. Our plan is, when we do a fleet replacement, is to replace everything with a brand new apparatus. Currently speaking today, if it was open today, which fortunately is not the case because we need a little time to absorb and plan, both for personnel and in apparatus, it would get one of our reserve trucks, which are the same model as the 2016 pumpers we have now. It would be the same thing that every other station has. There's not a need for a ladder truck in Sun City. In the fleet replacement program, there will be an additional ladder truck probably added to the district, but not necessarily for this station, because it doesn't, the only thing that would be beneficial on is like the Pinckney Hall and a few of the other areas with large structures, but it can roll from the next station over and better, more functional.
Anybody else?
Yes, sir. We have with the fire district, and EMS has programs in place as well. When things go bad, all the emergency services pretty much play nice and provide coverage. What the fire districts have that I can speak to is a countywide mutual aid agreement. In the countywide mutual aid agreement, we include Jasper County and Hardyville in that because they're our neighbors on that side of the district. But we also have Marine Corps Air Station, Paris Island, and a few others in that agreement that are external, as well as I think Hilton Head Island Airport is even included, but there's not much. That's more for Hilton Head to utilize if they have a need over there. Yes, sir. Sorry. It's hard to pinpoint without it right in front of me, but currently speaking, from the station we're at, between stop signs and turns and watching out for our golf cart friends as well, is because it's a large apparatus moving through the district, and we try to get there as quickly as we can, but safety has got to come first, because we want to make something worse, right? I want to say the average response time to Lazy Daisy currently is between 11 and 14 minutes from the time the apparatus leaves the station. And that's not counting, you already have time that the dispatch takes to answer the call and things of that nature that go into that call. And the studies that I don't have in front of me, but I can provide to Ms. Tab, and she can share as far as what our studies say it should do. And those aren't going to be fully realized until we actually get apparatus running calls, because AI and everything else is not always going to be 100% correct, especially in a neighborhood that doesn't have real-time traffic data being reported. So we won't really know 100% until the apparatus is up and running. But we do know for a fact that the distance is about half. So in theory, that should reduce our call response time for every place in that district by half or better. Closer to the station is going to reduce it more, but Lazy Daisy area definitely is going to be half, and Landing Lane roughly half. The Beaufort County portion is the only thing that Bluffton Township Fire District covers, and Beaufort County EMS first out. If we get a call from our dispatch center that Jasper County or Hardyville needs us to respond to the north side of the Sun City, where the Jasper County side, we're sending a unit. And same with EMS. If they get a mutual aid call and they have the coverage to do so, they're sending a unit. So first out, and the responsibility, 100% responsibility, is not the north side of the Sun City, I call it, is going to be Jasper and Hardyville more so. For our side, as far as when I say Sun City in reference to what we cover first out every day of the year, is the Beaufort County side. There's no space available on the lot. We were all trying to be responsible with how much impact we took up. And so a lot of the lot that we have is actually under the Santee Cooper power line easement. So we couldn't go vertical under that. So we pushed all the way over to the wetlands almost to get the station in there. Just trying to be responsible of the impact that we put on the community.
So it'll still be the softball field, to answer your question.
Sorry. We have multiple landing zones throughout the district. It's the softball field when it makes the most sense. But it may be behind Station 34, currently outside the gate there on other occasions, or it may be over by our Station 38 on River Ridge Drive on other cases. We have about 30 different landing zones throughout the district that we utilize because the idea is getting the helicopter for medevac as close to the scene as we possibly can. Sometimes it's in the roadway where the incident is if it's applicable.
Can we have Chief Peoples talk about EMS?
He's already taken it all, he's got it.
No. Come on.
That might be.
Go ahead, he's got it. There's one more for you.
Go ahead, sir. The reason for that is we work in unison together. EMS is the transporting agency. They have more paramedic staffing than we do. We also have, the fire department also has some advanced life support engines, but we don't transport. And all of our crews are emergency medical technician trained or higher. And the reason that the first responder model was put in place years ago is deployment. EMS has 4 ambulances and 2 QRVs south of the Broad River. So that's basically 246 square miles with 4 ambulances currently. And then occasionally they can put another one up if staffing allows as a backup because they're busy. And the fire department has the 9 fire engines and additional staffing with battalion chiefs and whatnot. So we're running out of at least, 5 more stations than what EMS, because they have the 4 they're running out, and then the QRVs, which are the supervisor vehicles that provide nothing more than we do except a little bit higher level of training sometimes and capability. The reason that the fire truck comes is that the goal of the whole thing is to get care to the citizens as soon as possible. And if the fire engine is not needed, EMS will cancel them. If EMS is not needed, the fire will cancel them to try to make it, be as fiscally responsible with the way we operate as possible and to make it make sense for both, obviously just kind of not disrupt anything we don't have to disrupt. Happy with that response?
You got it.
You want to speak about EMS? Because everyone was concerned that we would have EMS here.
Yeah, okay.
And what they do and don't do?
It's like we do
I
everything.
I just thought I'd throw that out.
I gotta be very careful with that one.
I know.
Good afternoon, I'm Kevin Peoples. I'm a senior crew chief with EMS. I'm here to represent EMS. I didn't know I was gonna have a speaking part, so I'll try. Chief Derek Church pretty much covered about anything I could elaborate on, but if you got questions, fire them off and it'll give me some way to start. I can't say what we do and don't do. I don't know what you mean
I'm
by
sorry.
that. So.
Okay. I was just harassing you a little bit.
Okay.
Any questions about EMS? Because there was a big concern that we'd have EMS here.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
A health services walk area? I don't know anything about that.
Yeah,
You know about
I
that?
can cover it real quick.
Thank
Essentially, it's not unlike any of our other stations. The general public can walk in and get a blood pressure check or some sort. And obviously, if you have an issue, your best course of action is to call 911.
Yeah.
The entrance of the station on the floor plan here is essentially, if I press the right button, there it is.
I heard you wrong. I thought you said walk area like somewhere to exercise. I'm like, why would we do that?
Oh, no.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
So this is a covered walkway area, basically like a covered porch, if you will, going up to the door that enters for the public entrances, which is right here. This public entrance is where you would come in and you would ring a bell to get into the station, because our stations this day and time have to be fully secured because we have no choice, unfortunately. But in this particular section, if you were to come in and need a blood pressure check or something like that, which is, it's right here is where you would go in if needed and to just have a seat. But typically what's going to happen is if you come in with a medical issue, you're going to be put right in the back of the ambulance. That way, if you do need to be transported, you're already closer to that point, and all the equipment's in the ambulance anyway. So it's really just an area that if someone were to come in with a blood pressure check or something like that, or just not feeling well, if they need to sit down right away, we have a place to initially start it, but typically we're going to assist them to the ambulance and get that going.
That's where I was going with
Yeah,
that.
I want to hit on that too, on blood pressures. So I think probably 2/3 of everyone in here has a store-bought blood pressure monitor that you check your pressure with. I know we weren't here to talk about medical things,
you
but
go ahead.
but I'm going to say
That's you.
I would never take the first one to the bank. I would do 2 or 3 and get a good average. I had it happen this morning. Someone thought their pressure was out the roof and it wasn't. Now, if you want to come by during daylight hours to have that confirmed, and we'll just double confirm and check it with hours, we'll do that. I think that's kind of what this little facility is for. Heaven forbid you have an emergency, don't ride up to the station in your car if you're acutely ill, because it happens that we aren't there from time to time, believe it or not, and people show up and there's in a bad way and we aren't there. So that's what 911 is all about. Let's call 911, not just show up for that. Feeling icky, want to just get your blood pressure checked? Yeah. Acutely ill, short of breath, chest pain, 911. That's what we do. Okay. Fire it
other
off, anybody?
Go ahead.
I like it. Good?
I was going to ask Natalie to step up. She serves as a commissioner on the fire board. Could you tell them you have meetings and they're welcome to attend and where it is? I mean, you may not want all of Sun City there, but they're welcome to attend.
No, our meetings are all public. They are held the third Tuesday of every month at 4 p.m. at the headquarters that's located by St. Gregory the Great on 278. And the public is always welcome. We'll take any comments or suggestions, or would love to hear from you.
And if if something comes up, you can always contact Natalie as your representative for District 6. Chief Peoples will answer. I promoted you to chief, I know.
That's what
I'll pass that along.
It is one of my.
Yeah, Chief Church always answers as well.
Worse, but that'll work.
Any other question for this group? Robert, can you wrap it up and just tell us, can you assure us there'll be no permitting problems?
What can you do?
Yeah, that would be me eventually, but could you talk about that?
That would be a huge undertaking to reassure everyone that there would not be permitting problems. What I can assure you is that we will do everything within capital projects power and within Fraser Construction and the subcontractors to make sure that all of the permitting is progressing, and it is. And we have been actually very fortunate to be walking through this design and permitting phase on schedule, and we hope to keep it that way. There are always, I shouldn't say always, but there are unforeseen issues that can arise, but we are projecting that this project is going to stay on track, and we hope to have no issues moving forward, and we are going to keep on track with our schedule. Good. So I think it's going to move along very well. The Fraser Construction has done several of these for us. How many total?
A lot.
Quite a few. So with that, so with that, there is an understanding of what needs to be done during the construction. So yes, we feel like it's going to go off very well.
Otherwise, you'll harass council about it.
I'm not harassing anyone. Council will be harassing me is what I think will happen.
I ask about Station 39 all the time, yes.
Yes, but
Thank you.
Generally, the entities that we don't have any control over that are
Yeah.
scheduled to take the longest time frame.
yes. And we've been fortunate. I think getting through with CZC is the longest that usually takes, and they are moving forward very quickly. So, and that's the coastal zone consistency permit that we have to get. And again, that relates again to several different factors as far as the amount of disturbed area that we have, as well as the wetlands. Okay? All right.
So
Thank
Chief
you.
Church, one recurring question we get is, will the sirens wake people up in the middle of the night? I'm totally serious. I get it at every neighborhood meeting.
People's might, mine better.
Yours do not, okay. But I mean, we hear sirens all day here anyway. Yeah,
That was your question?
I knew it. You live at the aviary?
Did you want to?
Yeah, sure. I guess
Down there.
currently speaking, after a certain hour, we try not to run lights and or sirens in Sun City or any community. Sometimes it's necessary. If you have a severe medical call, stroke, cardiac arrest, or any of those, the big ones, right? Sometimes it's more a benefit to the person we're going to than the person than it is a disadvantage to the person who's getting woken up by that. Because if we're having to move at pushing the limits of, our legal ability to get somewhere, and because of the significance of the call, and we have to run lights and sirens because people walk their dogs at 3 a.m. in Sun City. It's in other neighborhoods too. But so we sometimes need to warn those folks, because you look at Argent Way, for instance. Argent Way, the trees are they're like almost at the level of our windshields, and we're going down through at a decent clip to try to get to someone to help them. We sometimes make a decision, and that's at the discretion of the officer riding that apparatus. And I would venture to say it would apply to EMS as well, that if you feel like you need to make that noise to make it safer for that response because it warrants that level of urgency, that's a decision that's made on the fly. I will tell you though, however, if there's a complaint, we look into them, and we'll ensure that it's not try to make sure it's not being done unjustly. But we're not in that apparatus. We don't see the actual what's going on. If I've passed 2 people walking dogs, I'm like, well, I might need to turn the siren on because I want to let people know. But typically when that happens, it's like a whoop whoop and then off whoop whoop. If you guys want me to continue that sound effect, I will, but I'd rather not. But it's kind of like it's a slower, it's not a full-blown air horns blowing and everything else. During the day, it's unfortunate because not just Sun City, but all neighborhoods, and the way the cars are made with more soundproof, we have to make an excessive amount of noise to ensure that people know we're coming, because, on a daily basis, people are pulling out in front of the fire apparatus, and it does not stop on a dime. And that's both the car and just our general society of not being as attentive at the wheel. And that's all across all age groups and socioeconomic factors. That's just not just Sun City. So it's just a thing that we try to be mindful of.
Any other question for any of our special guests? All right, I'd like to thank them all for coming.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. Just here today to give a brief update of the Okatie project. For those of you who don't know specifically, Okatie was constructed in 1994. It opened for play in 1995. We've only really did 2 major upgrades since the opening, and that was we re-grass greens 2015, and we did a irrigation project in 2023. So this is by far the biggest project that we've done. Just to kind of give you a brief overview, this is an example of the fairways as they were sprayed out and sod cut, and what they're actually doing is trying to prep them for the sand and the black evading. This is a pile of all of the sod cut fairways that we've gotten a lot of questions about. You might have seen them as you pulled in through the front entrance. There's a couple of spots throughout the course where they're actually stockpiled. And actually what it is we needed some locations to dump the material as opposed to paying the contractor to haul it off. So what we've done is stacked them up in some of these areas, and we're going back in and making some contours and shaping some areas up. We've actually used some of the product in some of the low areas or along wood lines. This is an example of one of the areas that was shaped up with the cut sod from the fairways. This is actually the blackivation that we talk about with the fairways. So what we did was we went in and put 2 inches of sand throughout 30 acres worth of fairways, and then they come in with this machine, and basically it's a big mixer. It just mixes the sand and our native soils together. One of the reasons we're trying to open it up, give it some more pore space. If you have a farm plot, have a yard, you understand what's under your grass. It's not the best material out there. So what we're trying to do is enrich, as much as we can with what we have. Just to give you an example, we are putting 9,700 tons of sand, which is equivalent to 2 inches over 30 acres worth of fairways. The next step after that is the actual drainage installation. The drainage is actually going in on 12-foot centers, and it goes from tee to green. So once you enter a fairway, it runs all the way up to the approach to the edge of the green. It's actually, I added it up a couple weeks ago. We're actually going to install roughly 27 miles of drainage pipe. Basically just in fairways, pretty much. This is after they've installed the drainage in the fairways. It's all a sand-based process. The only thing different, it's a 2-inch pipe, and it's in a 12 to 16-inch column of sand that's roughly 4 inches wide. So it's pretty amazing that the amount of water that it'll carry. If you've passed the golf courses over, let's say, the last 3 weeks up at Okatie, you've probably seen the sprinklers running. So it's amazing that the fairways aren't a complete lake right now, because with the sprigs that were put down, we're running fairways every 2 hours, and then greens are running every 30 minutes from sunrise to sunset. So pumping a good bit of water. This is actually, sorry, I don't know which fairway it is, but this is an actual sprigged fairway. So this was after the grass was planted on the fairway, and roughly all the front 9 fairways plus number 18 was grassed 16 days ago. So Scott Denny, who's the superintendent up at Okatie, him and his staff have been running themselves ragged trying to keep water on 11 fairways. This is the picture of the fairway. This is probably about 6 days in, and you can see the white crossing that fairway. That's all your drain lines that run down through there. To talk about the greens, we pretty much did the same thing with greens, sprayed out the greens. This is a picture of the crew that's actually picking up all the material off of the green. And once they picked up all the sod, they basically dug down 6 inches into the actual greens complex and excavated those 6 inches out. How we came to the determination of taking 6 inches out was last year we did ISTRIC testing on the greens up at Okatie. And what it does, ISTRIC testing tells us what the percolation rate of a green is. So what we're looking for roughly is 30 inches an hour. So we want water to pass through that greens mix at that rate. Okatie was passing at 0.9. So we were less than an inch per hour. In the top 6 inches of the mix, once we got down to inch 7, we were right around 28.5 inches an hour. So that's where we came out with, we'll remove the top 6. We went into the green after they removed that and tilled them. And then they came back in and refilled them with fresh mix. And this is a picture of a green with fresh mix. They've actually done the contouring and the grading, and actually laid the sodded new collar on the green. This is probably 3 days after a sprig on a green. We're actually today is day 19 since we sprigged 1 through 9, 18 in the putting green. Today was actually the first day we mowed. So 19 days after planting, we did our first mow on actual collar and green. Fairways and tees, we're probably 7 days away from doing a cut on them. We're hopeful to reopen on October 1. We've had a couple of setbacks in the beginning with the fairways. They were so hard, we were struggling with trying to till the fairways under. So that's where we came back and actually started sod cutting the fairways to remove that organic material from it. Made it a lot easier, a lot cleaner, but that kind of pushed our date back a little bit on the grassing of fairways. But the construction crew's been great. They've really picked up. They're working, I think this next week they start working till 6:30 in the evenings just to kind of catch up and push ahead. Our plans are to sprig the 10 through 16 greens July 11th will be that sprig date, and then we hope that the fairways and tees follow shortly thereafter. So that's kind of where we're at.
Rick, can you let everybody know why do you sprig instead of just like sodding over? Because I'm sure inquiring minds want to know.
Sure.
Because you see sod everywhere in certain places, and why would you do that on a golf course?
So the main factor, obviously, is cost. We would be sodding 35, let's say close to 50 acres with tees, fairways, the driving range area. Sodding is probably 4 times the cost of sprigging. Actually, we can get, we toured the sod fields all through last fall, through the spring, up until the 3 days before they brought it. Basically, all of our sprigs come to do all the fairways, tees, practice areas, everything is coming out of an 8-acre field. So we're actually sprigging close to 40-something acres with 8 acres of sod. So that's the biggest reason, is just the cost factor. So.
Well, it's definitely evident. Rick for sure knows his stuff when it comes to the golf course and maintaining it, taking care of it. We're very fortunate to have him on board. So thank you very much. We appreciate it and everything the team's doing.